Have you ever met someone, felt a spark, and suddenly you're imagining your wedding playlist, their middle name, and how your kids might look, all before the first date? This is ADHD where we talk about everyday life and ADHD. I'm your host, Dr. J. I'm a licensed psychologist who works with those with ADHD. Today, we're kicking off a 4-part series about ADHD and dating, and we're going to start at the very beginning, the crush stage. I'll explain why ADHD brains fall in love so fast, and I'll share strategies for how to stay grounded without losing the exciting part. If you've ever gone from high to planning your wedding all within 48 hours, this one is for you. So why do ADHD brains fall so fast and so hard? Let's break it down. ADHD is fundamentally connected to how your brain manages dopamine, that crucial neurotransmitter that's like your brain's internal reward system. Here's what makes this so important for understanding crushes. The same dopamine pathways that are affected by ADHD are the exact same ones that light up when you're experiencing romantic attraction. When you develop feelings for someone, your brain floods with dopamine, creating those feelings of euphoria, motivation, and laser-focused attention that makes you want to text them back immediately or spend hours thinking about the last conversation that you had. For neurotypical individuals, this is intense enough. For those with ADHD, this dopamine surge can feel like rocket fuel. Many of my patients with ADHD describe what researchers call hyperfixation in romantic contexts. This means that you might find yourself unable to think about anything else than that person. Your mind returns to them constantly, whether you're in the middle of work, watching TV, or even trying to go to sleep. This isn't weakness or obsession in the unhealthy sense. It's your ADHD brain doing what it does with anything that triggers the dopamine reward system. Sometimes this intense focus crosses into what we would call limerence, a state of involuntary all-consuming longing for someone. The term was first coined in the 1970s when psychologists discovered through extensive interviews that some people experienced a particular type of romantic obsession that was involuntary, often unreciprocated, and featured an overwhelming need for that other person's attention. If you've ever felt like your crush has taken up your entire mental space, if you analyze every text message for hidden meaning, or if you feel almost physically dependent on their attention, you're experiencing something that is very real that many people with ADHD go through. Research has shown a significant connection between ADHD and limerence, with studies indicating that individuals with ADHD exhibit higher levels of infatuation, often driven by the same impulsivity and sensation-seeking behaviors that characterize the condition. Clinical studies have begun to illuminate why people with ADHD may be more susceptible to limerent experiences. One key study examined the relationship between ADHD, infatuation, and impulsivity in adolescence, finding significant associations between higher scores on infatuation intensity and key ADHD traits like urgency and sensation-seeking behaviors. The psychological profile of limerence aligns with several ADHD characteristics. The first I want to mention is intrusive thoughts and mental preoccupation. Just as ADHD can cause intrusive, repetitive thoughts about various topics, limerence involves persistent, unwanted thoughts about the person of interest. These thoughts can interfere with work, sleep, and daily functioning, a pattern that many with ADHD are familiar with. Next is rejection sensitivity and emotional dysregulation. People with ADHD often experience rejection-sensitive dysphoria, or RSD, an intense emotional response to perceived rejection or criticism. In limerent states, this sensitivity becomes laser-focused on one person, making every interaction feel loaded with meaning and every perceived slight devastating. Next is dopamine seeking and intermittent reinforcement. The unpredictable nature of romantic attention creates an intermittent reinforcement schedule, the most addictive type of reward pattern. For ADHD brains already seeking dopamine stimulation, this unpredictability can create an almost addictive cycle of hope, disappointment, and renewed pursuit. And lastly are executive functioning challenges. So, limerence often involves poor decision making and impulse control around the object of the obsession. So, sending multiple texts, showing up unexpectedly, or making grand gestures without thinking about the consequences. All of these behaviors mirror the executive functioning challenges that many people with ADHD face in other areas of their life. Understanding the clinical connections between ADHD and limerence doesn't diminish the beauty of your capacity to love deeply. However, it is important to distinguish between healthy romantic attachment and potentially problematic patterns. Clinical research suggests that limerence differs from healthy romantic love in several key ways. While love involves reciprocity, respect for boundaries, and the ability to function in daily life, limerence is characterized by obsessive thoughts that interfere with productivity and emotional well-being. The difference isn't in the intensity of the feeling, but in how it affects your day-to-day living. Research shows that individuals experiencing limerence often display an obsessive attachment to a particular person that significantly interferes with daily functioning and the ability to form and maintain other healthy relationships. For those with ADHD, this can be particularly challenging because the same hyperfocus that can be a superpower in work or creative pursuits can be overwhelming when it's directed towards a person. ADHD affects emotional regulation, which means the highs of attraction can feel sky high, and any perceived rejection or lack of response can feel devastatingly low. If you've ever felt like you're on an emotional roller coaster with crushes, one day feeling like you're floating on air and the next wondering if they hate you because they haven't texted you back, you're not alone. This emotional intensity isn't something to be ashamed of. It's part of how your brain processes the world. But developing strategies to stay grounded in these intense moments is going to be incredibly helpful. You don't have to lose yourself in the infatuation tornado. Here are some strategies to keep your balance while still enjoying the butterflies. Number one is to stay grounded in reality. Remember that you're getting to know a whole person, not just the highlight reel your mind creates when you're smitten. Some of the basic questions work here, like, how long have I known that this person even existed on the planet? 6 days? That's not enough for a love story. What has your experience been with that person? Have you had a few hours of good texting, a nice date, and a hot night? That is not what a marriage is built upon, unless the hours of texting are about what type of detergent that he should get from the grocery store because he forgot your usual brand, or that nice date was eating takeout on the couch while watching Love Island, and that hot night was menopausal related. I mean, I kid, like married people still have a good time, but I hope you're getting my point. Check in with yourself. Do I actually like who they are or who I imagine them to be? No one makes it through a 50-year relationship on vibes. Number two, do not prematurely center them in your universe. ADHD brains love shiny new things, and a crush can become the ultimate labubu. But if you drop your usual routines, you risk falling into an imbalance fast. So you want to stick to your sleep schedule, keep your meals, workouts, and meds consistent, and protect your time for hobbies and friendships. Think of your life as a solar system. Your crush might be a bright new planet, but you, your values, your routines, your friendships, they're the sun. The healthier you are, the more you can enjoy your relationships, whether they're ones that are brand new or ones you've had since birth. Plus, too many of us get Shakespearean over a person once we start skipping meals and losing sleep over them. Your brain goes, I am weak and tired over this person. It must be love. Absolutely not. Eat a Snickers and take a nap. Number three is to pace your vulnerability. One ADHD tendency is to go from 0 to 60 in emotional intimacy. So that let's stay up until 3 a.m. trauma bonding urge, it's tempting, but also risky. Oversharing can leave you feeling exposed or anxious later. And going back to the Shakespearean thing, I see patients do if-thens all the time. If this person knows my deepest, darkest secrets, then this relationship must be deep and real. See point number 1. Stay grounded in reality. Don't become your own one-person reality TV show. You can't speedrun intimacy despite so many shows like 90 Day Fiancé, The Bachelor, or Love is Blind. What are the stats on those relationships actually working anyway? Not very high. Try building connection in layers, like stacking bricks. Share something small, then notice how they respond, and then add a little more. This doesn't mean you're being fake. It means you're giving trust the time that it needs to become sturdy. Number 4 is to manage the thought spiral. When you're crushing hard, every little thing can send you spinning. If they haven't texted you back in an hour, your brain might go, do they hate me? Are they secretly dating 12 other people? Pause. Breathe. ADHD brains can grab onto a thought and loop it like it's your favorite TikTok. When you catch that happening, here's a few things that I suggest that you try. The first is redirection. Put on music, do a quick chore, or use body movement to shift your energy. The next is reframing. So instead of, why haven't they texted? Shift to, what do I need to be focused on right now? And then the third is reality checking. Would you expect a close friend to reply instantly every single time? Probably not. Your thoughts may feel urgent, but not all of them are accurate or even important. Number 5 is to pay attention to your nervous system. Excitement and anxiety can feel very similar in the body. Racing heart, jitteriness, butterflies. When you're ADHD wired, your nervous system can flip from this is amazing to this is terrifying pretty fast. Grounding strategies like box breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and sensory grounding can be really helpful here. Number 6 is to know your attachment triggers. Attachment patterns like anxious, avoidant, insecure can show up big in the early stages. Add ADHD and the intensity doubles. Now, this is something that I need to scream to the back of the room. You are not defined by your attachment style. Anyone can learn to be securely attached. Anyone who defaults to secure attachment can display behaviors of other attachment styles depending on the situation. If you lean anxious, you may crave constant reassurance and panic at silence. So practicing tolerating space without spiraling is your growth edge. If you lean avoidant, you may pull back the second that things feel too close. The challenge is to notice the reflex and experiment with small doses of openness. Awareness here is power. Instead of blaming yourself or your crush, you can work on self-soothing and pacing connections. Number 8 is to keep your friends in the loop. When you're in the crush bubble, you may be tempted to ghost your group chat. Friends are the best reality checkers. They can remind you that you're lovable and whole whether you're with this person or not. They can also laugh at the ridiculous overthinking that happens when you're in the crush phase. And finally, number 9 is to give yourself permission to enjoy it. Here's the part that people forget. The crush stage can actually be really fun. It's okay to enjoy the butterflies, the smiles at your phone, and the little dopamine highs. The key here is to let yourself savor it without losing yourself in it. Be silly, be cringe. It really is the magic of life. If this episode felt like I read your diary, don't worry, you're not alone. No, really, I looked back at some old diaries and your girl here had some crushes. That's it for this episode. This is just part 1 of the ADHD and dating series. In our next episode, we're diving into ADHD and courting. I am so excited for the comments on this series. Let me know your questions and things you've learned so we can help our fellow humans. If you enjoyed today's episode, check out our episode on ADHD and rejection sensitivity, where I explain how ADHD can amplify fears of rejection.